So all of you can see the screen, right?
Yeah.
I want someone to become a demo again for this. Who wants to become a demo? But you need to have a problem that you want to work with. Huh? Matlab, don't become a demo for the sake of becoming a demo.
Okay.
Though all of you will practice this with each other any which ways, but still.
Okay, should I?
Yes, perfect. So I just want you to look at the screen.
So I can have the same problem which I discussed there.
Yeah, you can.
Okay, because that is the only problem of right.
No, but in your case, you've already described the problem, right? I want you to actually pick up a different problem, because then I would be able to demonstrate how you're using this process to help the client come to the problem.
Okay. So I need to think of another problem.
Correct. You just need to think of another situation that you feel is bothering you. You don't have to define it for us right now, but you should know that yeah, there is another challenge or another concern that you're working with that you want to be able to explore.
Okay.
So would you be able to?
Yeah.
Perfect. Why is it not working correctly? Just give me a second.
अच्छा आना है अंदर ले लो कहीं पे लगा लो
I'm not really sure why is my screen acting weird, because I'm drawing something and it's drawing
something else.
30 seconds after I've removed my pen.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. So Tripti, what I want you to do is, you can see whatever this is in front of you, right?
Okay.
Now, if I were to ask you to look at this abstract drawing in front of you and identify 3 or 4 different objects or items or things, would you be able to identify 3 or 4 things?
Okay. Can be animal also?
Yeah, it can be anything.
Okay. So one is so I need to tell, right?
Correct.
So one is dinosaur.
Mhm.
The other is dog-shaped animal.
Mhm.
Then there is a child lying down, and there is a cap.
डायनासोर की स्पेलिंग क्या होगी?
I think
SAUR, SAUR, DINA, SAUR.
Okay. Dinosaur, dog, child lying down, right?
Gog नहीं dog. D.
Child. Next, cap.
cap.
Can you think of maybe 1 or 2 more things that you can identify?
Okay. So the screen is coming. Yeah. No. Mountain.
One more.
Yeah. No.
Okay. So if I were to ask you to create a story, which has all of these elements,
Okay.
which also represents the screen that's in front of you. Would you be able to create a story out of it?
Okay. So there is a dinosaur, and it is covered with so many, like, it is all over covered.
Mhm.
There's a dog on top of it,
Mhm.
and there are mountains, and a child is lying under the dinosaur,
Mhm.
and child is having a cap on the stomach.
Child is having a cap on the stomach. All right. Now, if you have to build this up a bit more so that it looks like a scene or a story, what would that be?
Okay, the story is that a dog saw a dinosaur
Mhm.
and started barking,
Mhm.
and dinosaur jumped on a child, and child was wearing a cap which came on his stomach,
Mhm.
and it was a hilly area.
All right. Perfect. Now, as you narrate this story to me, if I were to ask you to think of this story in your head, tell me what role would you be playing in this story? Where would you be? What role would you be playing if this story had some resemblance to your life?
So I will be calling the dog away
Mhm.
and shooing the dog so that dinosaur leaves the child.
Okay. And do you resonate with this? So just think about the problem that you have in your life. And if I were to ask you to, while thinking about that problem, think about this story, would you be able to find some kind of correlation or resonance between the two?
Partly, I don't know.
What would be the resonance?
So the um, resonance as such,
Matlab,
as in,
if this story was like a metaphor to represent what's happening in your life currently, right? How what which part of this will represent the problem that you're working with in your life currently?
so maybe dog.
And what about the dog?
So the barking of dog is bringing the all the trouble.
Okay, so in your real life, what would that barking of dog be?
So it may be that I am too much nagging to my husband.
Mhm.
And so, and if you again if I again think about,
Mhm.
I'm nagging because I want to save the child here, right?
Mhm.
So I'm nagging because I want to save his health.
Mhm. Perfect.
So,
Mhm.
but he like, but there's a dinosaur. It becomes a dinosaur in between because nothing works.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Okay. And if you have to kind of give me a bit more detail about it, how would you describe it to me?
So about the issue or about
About the issue. Now that we have come to the issue, so if you could give me a bit more
yeah.
description about the issue.
Yeah, so since a few years and then more in these months, it is all about my husband's health because he doesn't take care of the proper. He has diabetes since years, and I had always been telling him कि टेस्ट करा लो so that एक monitoring रहेगा, but he never used to do it, and वो लड़ाई होती थी. That was the only issue of लड़ाई in our lives. लेकिन अभी कुछ दिन पहले माई डॉटर बिकेम डॉक्टर एंड फिर उसने जबरदस्ती करवाया कि नहीं आप टेस्ट कराओ ओवरऑल. एंड अब जब टेस्ट कराया तो डायबिटीज का इफेक्ट ऑन किडनीज पूरा दिख रहा है. एंड डॉक्टर हैव नाउ कि ये नहीं खाना वो नहीं खाना, लिमिट करना है, आधी कटोरी दाल एंड ये वो. सो बहुत मेरा ज़्यादा इमोशनल आउटबर्स्ट हो जाता है. सुबह भी आई टोल्ड हिम कि 9:30 ब्रेकफास्ट करोगे तो 10 बजे तक आपको नाश्ता करना है, बट वो उन्होंने 10 बजा दिए एंड आई वाज ऑल I bursted and अब लड़ाई हो गई and all that.
Okay.
Then I started thinking कि मैं क्यों करती हूँ ऐसा, लेकिन वो मुझसे नहीं हो पा रहा.
And if you have to summarize all of this in a couple of lines, how would you summarize this?
In couple of
lines. आपने जो मुझे सब चीजें बताई अभी, if you could summarize it in a couple of lines, how would you summarize it?
I need to be patient and understanding with my husband.
Okay, so that's the outcome that you would like to have, right?
Yeah.
But the problem, how would you define the problem in 2 or 3 lines?
But फिर ये आ जाता है कि when he is not managing, then what to do? Being patient will not bring the outcome. That's what I feel.
All right. But so now that you've told me this, right? And you've told me that being patient will not bring the outcome. If you have to put this entire description that you've given me into that format that we spoke about earlier, remember? So can you put it in this format?
So I feel frustrated about my shouting when he doesn't follow what he needs to follow.
I feel frustrated about
my nagging when he doesn't follow what is good for him.
Perfect. So does this describe the problem correctly? Brilliant. So for all of you, are you clear of what I've done? Yes, no?
Yes.
Yes.
So can someone summarize the steps for me as to what I've done?
Okay, first, can I?
Please.
Yeah, so first, you gave her a chance to speak where she was not knowing what exactly the issues are, from where she can start from. So you drew some lines and you told her to pick up some things which helped her to make a story. Initially, she was just labeling things like, she said dog, dinosaur, child, cap, and then you told her to make a story out of it, where she made a story of her understanding, what she understood by it. And then you told her where you place yourself in the story.
Perfect.
So when she placed, when she placed herself, then you asked her how does it relate to the real life, like how it relates to your life right now, your situation. So where she was able to explain her current situation, what she is facing, the problem with, like, and she was able to say that she relates with the dog more because here she is barking and the dog is barking and barking. And why the dog is barking? Because there is a reason for the bark. So similarly here she yells and she screams, or she has a fight with the husband. Why? Because there's a reason behind it. That because of the health issues. So then that gives her a chance to open up what exactly is there in her mind. Earlier when the person was not knowing what to say, and slowly you give them that, you open the doors, like, okay, this is what you face, so this is what is happening. So can you just summarize? So when the person is summarizing, he gets a more clarity about the current problem, what the patient is, what the client is going through.
Perfect. So I'm writing down all the steps for all of you so that you can practice with each other after this. Is the screen visible for all of you?
Yes. No.
No.
The screen is not.
No. Screen is not there.
Visible now?
Yeah.
Yes.
So first step, ask the client, would they be comfortable doing a small activity. Draw something random and abstract. So when you're drawing, don't have any ideas in your head. You can like simply draw anything that comes to your head. Ask the client to identify 5 items in the drawing. Create a story out of the items. Ask the client what are they doing or role they play in the story. Check how this story resonates or connects with their problem. Let them describe the resonance. Ask to summarize. Put in. Ask to put in the suggested format. Clear?
Nitin, can I ask you something? It's like,
बोलिए.
yeah, in this example, is in the drawing, the client says dinosaur, dog, child, cat, mountain. But what if the client says circle or a wavy line or a straight line, or
Which
just
is okay.
describes the shape?
Which is okay. I would eventually tell the client, create a story out of these shapes. See, the shapes, the reason why we are asking the clients for the shape is, if I were to show the client a very abstract drawing and tell them create a story, they will not be able to create a story.
Yes.
Right? But when you tell them to identify 5 items and create a story out of those 5 items, now they would be able to create it because there's something to start with.
Okay.
Right? And why abstract? Because when you show something to a client, see, has any of you heard of any of the projective tests?
PAT,
right?
Rorschach.
So why are those tests so powerful?
Because you relate to them.
Correct. So what you have in front of you is an abstract picture, but because of the way your mind perceives information,
Unconscious thoughts.
Correct. So your unconscious notices an abstract drawing and tries to make sense of it. It can only make sense of it based on the information that's available in the mind. And if you're currently having certain problems, it's through the filter of those problems that you start looking at the image. So we are literally using the same principle. The difference is I don't have to interpret it for the client. I'm asking the client to tell me what is the resonance. Right? Which actually ensures that there is no bias from my side that can interfere with the process. And the client's transition from I don't know where do I start to actually the story, from the story to the resonance, and from the resonance eventually to the suggested format is seamless. Is this clear for all of us?
Yes.
So just remember that irrespective of what we are doing, before we go ahead, our first step is to define the problem in the suggested format. Whatever we are doing is to help the client do that.